الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين. I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent and the Merciful, and the one who reserves His extra mercy for mu'mineen like you and I. All praise belongs to Allah, who guided us to His gatherings. We would not have found the path if Allah did not guide us aright. Due to Allah's infinite wisdom, He sent for you and I, Rahmatul lil Alameen, in the form of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Quran mentions him as Uswatul Hasana, our best exemplar in all walks of our life, whether we deal within ourselves, our spouses, our families, communities, as well as environment. And very close to him in that level of spirituality are his Ahlulbayt, whom we look upon them at a time of sadness and happiness. Amma ba'd, فقال الله في كتاب المجيد وقول الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأوحينا إلى أم موسى عن أرضيه فإذا خفت عليه فألقيه في يمي ولا تخافي ولا تحزني إنا رادوه إليك وجاعل من المرسلين صدق الله العلي العظيم. صل على محمد. Tonight, on this auspicious night where we mourn our spiritual mother, I just want to talk about purity of the chosen ones, especially considering taking from the Bibi Fatima alayhi salam going backwards. What verse I open up is from Surah Al-Qasas, chapter number 28, verse number 7, where Allah says, we have revealed to Musa's mother, saying, feed him, then when you fear for him, cast him into the river, and do not fear and do not grieve. And surely we'll bring him back and make him one of the messengers. So you find that in that scenario where the mother is told, alaykum salam, where the mother is told, you drop your baby into the river. Now let me put it into our hearts today, you and I. If we have small children, we have babies, and the doctor or somebody tells us, cast that baby into a water or body of water, it's so hard to do so. But the mother of Musa actually obeyed totally the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Musa's boat or whatever he was put into comes into the palace of Pharaoh. So the background goes like this, that one of Pharaoh's daughter had patches on her body. And an ancient scholar, scripture, had predicted that a creature like human child would appear coming floating from the river. And if the saliva of the child is applied on Musa's daughter, on Pharaoh's daughter, the patches would be gone. So when Musa's floating box came, it was picked up and the astronomers were consulted to know if the baby is the one which was promised to be delivered from Banu Israel. They said, no. Asiya, the wife of Pharaoh, said they might benefit from this child. The child's saliva was used, the white patches were gone, and then Musa became one of those who is loved in the courtyard of Pharaoh. However, Allah instilled that love in Asiya for Musa, so that Musa can be saved, though he was from Banu Israel. وَإِذْ قَالَتْ لِلْمَلَائِكَةُ يَا مَرْيَمُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ اسْتَفَاكِ وَطَهَّرَكِ وَاسْتَفَاكِ لِلنِّسَاءِ الْعَالَمِينَ. Surah Al-Imran, chapter 3, verse number 42. And when the angel said, O Maryam, surely Allah has chosen you, purified you, and chosen you among the women of the world. So we'd find that Nabi Maryam came after the time of Nabi Musa. Her challenges were very different. She was chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like we say Muhammad Mustafa. Mustafa means chosen. Istifa is that derivation of choosing of a Bibi Maryam. Refers to her as the lineage of Nabi Ibrahim in her purification. The second istifa in this verse refer to the fact that she was a chosen mother of Nabi. A Nabi who was born without a father. And when we look at her way, that she was a virgin, and therefore, to her time, till the advent of the Holy Prophet, she was the best woman of the worlds. Now you'd find that when Bibi Maryam used to pray, at that time, let's put it that way, it was something, a masjid called synagogue. And the malaika would come, they would give her different type of fruits, not like today where we can import fruits from different type of the world and we don't have to find a difference. But at that time, every fruit was grown according to the season. And we find that Bibi Maryam was receiving this. And her custodian, Zachariah, would come and say, Maryam, where did you receive these fruits, which is not available at this time of the world? He says, the malaika brought it for me. So you find that a woman can achieve certain level or higher level than other people, than a man, if she is purified. And therefore the Holy Prophet declared after that Bibi Fatima alayhi salam is the chief of the women of the universe. Why? Because number one, the daughter of the most superior Prophet of Allah and the seal of the prophethood. Number two, she was the wife of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. How does the Prophet explain? Ali is my flesh and Ali's flesh is my blood. I and he are from the same divine light. And the third important position she had was that she is the mother of our 11 holy Imams. And through the last surviving son, will the justice prevail on the earth. And very interestingly, the mother of Maryam, who is our Nabi Isa alayhi salam, will be following the Imam of our time. So, when we look at the world today, we always have to look at what the scripts are telling us, what the direction of the Quran is. If Isa will be following the Imam of our time, what it tells you and I, there is a very good chance people of other faith, whether it is Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, they also might follow the same way. Because remember, when the Imam comes, he's not going to use a sword to kill everybody. He will be persuasive. He will be a person who is inviting so that everybody will come forward towards the Imam of the time. That's why we find in the Surah Ahzab, chapter 33, part of verse number 33, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمْ رِجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. Ahsant. So just to little divert here, I was attending one webinar, and in that webinar, it talks about a speaker and the audiences. So there are different type of audiences. Now, very important is the speaker is engaging. I'm engaging or not? Okay. So the audience is also, or rather the lovers of Ahlulbayt here, should be also engaging towards me. So when we recite salawat, it should not be a dim salawat. It should be a loud salawat. And I'll explain to you why this salawat is important. Salawat ala Muhammad. Wajil farajah. So, the verse which talked about 33.33, 3 plus 3 is what? Plus 3 plus 3 Aren't we lovers of Ahlulbayt here? We are. So, O people of the house, Allah's intention, it's His irada. It's not legislative. It is His irada that He wished to purify the people of the house, to purify you with thorough purification. Innama implies determined decision or will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Although the decision of created being may not take effect at all, but the will of Allah will take effect immediately. That is why we always are attracted towards Ahlulbayt. Our feeling towards them is not only of love, it's of muwadda. It's that of more of an attraction which brings us close to them at every time. Aka Puya, Mahdi Puya says, Innama verily or only signifies exclusive distinction. To emphasize this exclusivity, the second object of verse is yudhiba, keep off, and the phrase ankum, from you, has been put before the object rijs, uncleanliness. And for the further emphasis, the phrase Ahlulbayt has been mentioned to explain pronounce ankum, from you. The grammatical structure of the whole clause indicates that this is a unique privilege or distinction granted to Ahlulbayt only, exclusive of the others. The verb yuridu implies that continuous will or intention of Allah is thus creative, will or not intention, not legislative. So Allah willed it, He defined it, He provided the means of thorough purifications, and He selected His Ahlulbayt as our role model. So you'd find that in the verse 33 which we recited also, Surah Azab, Baby Fatima, Ali, their sons have been thoroughly purified. Therefore, our Holy Prophet has declared, as I said earlier, Maryam was chosen by her status, remained so till the daughter of till his daughter Fatima was born. And thereafter, Fatima is the most blessed, thoroughly purified and chosiest woman, the best of the women in the universe, from the beginning till the end, and in all ages. And also included among with Fatima is Asiya, Maryam, and Khadija al-Kubra alayhi salam. So when we look at this verse, Ayat Tathir, very interestingly, equitable persons have no doubt that the verse of purification is revealed about none but the purified Ahlulbayt. It is declared their purity and infallibility, they are very infallible, and there is no scope for any other lady other than these 5 souls. So, again, when we look at the verse which we recited, 33.33, it is very, very important to understand the position of Ahlulbayt. And the position of Ahlulbayt can only be explained by the position of Fatima. All reverts to Baby Fatima. You'd find that Fatima is a link from the Prophet. Fatima is a link to the Imama. Fatima is the one who defended the Imama during the Khulafa time. Having said this, it's very important to understand Ahlulbayt. Let me come again. The verse starts with Innama, which itself means Allah has restricted His desire into His purity, and this is the best proof of being the source of fountainhead of every good. Number 2, Almighty Allah has made this arrangement only to declare the excellence and for no one else. Number 3, by mentioning origin of purity, additional emphasis has been brought. Number 4, using purity as indefinite article, it is expressed that the purity is of a special kind, which cannot be compared to ordinary purities. What I mean is, Sometimes we become najis, we give ghusl. Sometimes we want to pray, we do wudu. For Ahlulbayt, these are secondary. They are purified with thorough purification. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam called them Ahlulbayt as supplicating for their purity, show that along with Allah's desire, the claim of the Prophet is also in force. And all are concerned for propagating the virtue of Ahlulbayt. Number 5, according to the narration of Abu Sa'id Khudri, our Holy Prophet too included in the verse, which is additional proof of great Ahlulbayt. Number 7, Prophet Muhammad invoked grace, mercy, peace, forgiveness for Ahlulbayt, for which shows that they are actual owners of purity. Otherwise, no one else is entitled to this supplication. Number 8, since this is a supplication, Holy Prophet has included himself in clarifying the equality of Ahlulbayt in the honor. Number 9, Holy Prophet has mentioned descendant of mercy of Prophet Ibrahim in the supplication, which is also proof that Ahlulbayt are the heirs of equal rank. Number 10, Prophet says for blessings, which proves that Ahlulbayt are entitled for salawat, because supplication of the Prophet is never rejected. Did you understand why I said we always do and recite loud salawat? It's not only for the Prophet, it's for the Prophet and Ahlulbayt together. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Number 12, desire for purity, that lack of defections is independent proof that Ahlulbayt are completely secure from hellfire in the hereafter. When we say Ahlulbayt are masoom, our Ahlulbayt are impeccable, our Ahlulbayt do not commit sin. Ahlulbayt never thought of committing a sin even out of a second. That means it implies they are the people of heaven, not the people of hell. And whom do you want to associate with? You want to associate yourself with the people who are going to heaven. May I request you to move little in front so that others who come, they can settle down very quickly. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Very interesting. Salli ala Muhammad wa coming and saluting of the Prophet at the door of Fatima Zahra every day shows that those whose rank is higher, their character should be higher, and Ahlulbayt are so. Very interestingly, when I look in the world we live in today, I think this is a perfect good example for you and I to take. The Prophet would go and salute the house of Fatima. Isn't it? Now, think about it in our world of today. Why is it so that the Prophet was going and saluting the house of Fatima? First of all, of course, Baby Fatima was very much purified. But secondly, you would find that Fatima had that very close connection with her father. That closeness was such that Fatima was actually following to the T whatever the Prophet would do. And the Prophet, in that respect of Fatima, would go and even say, Assalamu alayki ya Ahlulbayt. What it tells you and I in today's world, we can bring up our children, our daughters, no, not daughters, the son too, in the way that we can have them as templates of Ahlulbayt. Many times we are lost in our transaction of this world. Now, I'm not saying don't go for your holidays, don't go for your cruise, don't go to Walt Disney. I'm saying that if you have an opportunity, try to make a point, go for holidays, go to Turkey, go to Dubai, but plan to go for ziyarah. Because if you have that close connection with Ahlulbayt, then your holidays will have meaning. It will have greater meaning. Now, why did I talk about Bibi Fatima? You know, very interestingly, sometimes back, many years ago, when we went to Dubai, and we told to travel agent, listen, we want to go to Mashhad, but we have Tanzanian passports. He said, yeah, you can go, you get the visa at the airport. So we went through the airline, which was flying 3 times a week, and we landed there. As soon as we ran there, we went to the passport officer. He says, which passport you have? Australian? No. British? No. Tanzanian? Oh, sorry, we can't give a visa. And there's no flight going back to Dubai next day or the same time. So he called the airline officer. Airline officer was talking to Tehran to see what we can do. The officer was talking to Tehran what we can do. And I said, you know what? We have reached till here with our children. Our children were small then. So let's do something. Let me go and pray. So I picked up this version of Amal of Bibi Fatima. You prayed 2 rakat salah. And then after that, I recited 520 times, Ya Maulati, Ya Fatimati, Aghisni. There are many versions of it. And my wife, she was with the immigration. When I finished my prayers, and as usual, I'm suggesting to you again, you make a dua, hey, Ya Allah, give me visa. No, I didn't do it like that. So first you pray, presenting Allah, thanking Allah. Then try to account of your shortcomings. Allah, forgive me for whatever I have done. After that, you take the wasila. For that particular time, my best wasila was Bibi Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. And I made a hajat for others who are sick, who gave me some talks. And then finally I asked, we have come to meet your grandson, Ali Rada alayhi salam. Gain us entry. I went back there, between the airline, the officer was so honest, sincere. He participated in so many wars. And he said, okay, we have found a way. We are giving you some tickets onwards, but you will not fly. We are giving you 4 days to go there. So I asked that officer, can I do anything for you? He said, no. I don't want anything from you. When you go to the haram, pray for me. And we were able to do our ziyarah. This is all because of the du'as of the Bibi. We have asked him through her wasila to go there. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Number 14, the statement of the Prophet that Almighty kept me in the best family is the excellent proof of superiority of Ahlulbayt. So we find from Hashim, from Abdul Muttalib, Abu Talib, going to the Prophet, his father, his mother, they're all from a very pious lineage. So the Prophet had no even hesitation of talking about his family lineage. Number 15, by declaring purity and equality of the perfection, he also clarified, Sadaqah is unlawful for Ahlulbayt because it is a sort of a dirt which is against the dignity of the folk of purity. Now, I must explain one thing very important, that sadaqah is not for them. But we can give khums, which can be today divided 50-50, same imam and same sadat. Very important that we should be able to apply this to the families of Ahlulbayt who are in need, who are having difficulties. And not only that, get your savings, whatever you get. If you have $1,000, $200 at the end of the year, your year goes for khums, 50% semi imam, 50% semi sadat. Not only that, from your savings of $800, take out something and give it to others. You would find it will come back in many ways. So you find that our Bibi was born on the 20th of Jumada Thani in Mecca. Her martyrdoms, there are 2 dates. One is today, 13th of Jumada al-Awwal, and the second one is 3rd of Jumada Thani. And her tragic life ended at the age of 18 in Medina. And it is said that between 75 and 90 days after the demise of the Holy Prophet. Having said this, it's very important to understand that when you lose your father, it's not very easy. The father who was very close to you, who would pass by you, who will engage you. Not only that, it was also difficult for Hassan and Hussein also, because they loved their Nana too much. And you know when and also Bibi Zainab, Kulthum, you know, if you are a Dada or a Nana, you can explain that, you can understand that how did Bibi Fatima feel. So let's look at some little practical ways of how we can utilize Bibi Fatima as our role model and as a symbol of Islamic world. How a daughter, wife, or a mother should behave in their ordinary lives. She was devoted to her father, looked after him even in distress. When our Holy Prophet would go for tabligh, he would come back sometimes wounded because of the hostile action of others. She would be there to dress him up. She was only 5 years or even more, or even less. She was an extraordinary wife. She was very fair to her housemaid, Fidda. She would divide the chore between herself and Fidda. What it tells you how to do things in a very good way in the house. And she was a very devoted wife and a very, very loving mother. There were occasions where there is no food in the house, but she would never complain. You know, at the time when the Prophet and his family, they moved to Medina, it was not of the best of the time. There were economic hardships, there were difficulties, but at the same time, Bibi Fatima never complained about food. So one time, it is narrated that Imam Ali, when he went out to do some work to get food, but returned home empty-handed. Now you would think, how wife would think. Fatima asked Ali, what happened about the food? Ali said, he earned some money and brought the food. But on the way back, he found some hungry people or persons and gave them away the food to them. Imagine what the Prophet must have felt when he heard about it. When the Prophet heard about this situation, he brought some food for the family. But not only that, he commanded Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Ali's act of charity is the greatest value, which has greatest value in the eyes of Allah. And after that, everybody in the family thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the good deeds which have happened, not on Ali's charity and the food which came from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Many times, Jum'ah, our Salah, we find that men come and women come. Where did we learn this from? With Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. She would go to the mosque of the Prophet to participate with all the prayers. Not only that, this is most important in the world we live in today, where we see our defensive communities fighting against zulm. She would go out to the battlefield to help the wounded. In the Battle of Uhud, when her father was injured, she tended him, cleaned his wounds, put some burnt wool on the wound to stop blood bleeding and flowing. When the Prophet recovered, felt better, he said, "Oh, my daughter, come. Thank you very much for what you have done for me." This is what the Prophet is teaching you and I to do. This is what Bibi Fatima is teaching you and I to do. And when you go to some of this country where the battles are until going now, you would find a lot of our women are on the front line as the nurses, as a doctor, supporting those frontline mujahid. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So there is an ambiguity on where she is buried. Some people say it is in her house, which has become part of Masjid Nabawi during the reign of Khalif Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. However, I found this is more like very interesting to share with you. One time, Ayatollah Saeed Mar'ashi Najafi did a special imam for 40 days to seek location of a sacred grave of Bibi Fatima. And on the 40th night, he saw himself at Baqi. Inshallah, may Allah give us opportunity to go to Baqi. And he saw Imam Baqir alayhi salam and told him. So what he told him? I advise you to go to Karimane Ahlulbayt. Ayatullah thought that by Karima Ahlulbayt, the Imam meant Bibi Fatima alayhi salam. Yes, I have been supplicating to find the exact location of the grave of Lady of Fatima so that I can perform ziyarah. The man replied. So the Imam replied him what he meant by Karimel Ahlul Bayt. I meant go to the holy grave of Lady Fatima Masuma in Qum. Allah desires to keep the holy grave of Bibi Fatima as hidden. So sometimes when we are told, we are looked into, why I can't find the grave of Bibi Fatima, Allah has His own maslahat. Remember just now, the Marsi Khan recited, he said Bibi Fatima wanted to be buried at night in a coffin. She didn't want to be seen by anybody. That is maybe the maslahat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not only that, when you go to Bibi Masuma Qum, there are many scholars there buried around them. And therefore the honor, the grandeur appropriate for holy grave of Sayyidah Fatima Zahra should be given to the holy grave of Sayyidah Masuma. This is the advice of our fifth Imam according to Ayatollah Mar'ashi. And therefore what he did was, Mar'ashi stayed after that in Qum for 60 years. Not only that, he would be the first one early in the morning to go and do ziyarah of Bibi Masuma Qum. And therefore, when you go and visit the haram of Masuma Qum, there is one side ziyarah of Bibi Masuma, and the other one there is a salawat of Bibi Fatima, put side by side. So it gives you an opportunity to go there. Now think politically. Today, let's say, even we want to visit our Holy Prophet. Are you able to go and kiss the dhari of the Prophet? You cannot. You are kept at a distance and you are unable to get that feeling. Let me take you straight away to Karbala. You go to Karbala and what do you feel? You feel the closeness with Aba Abdullah. You feel the closeness of everyone around you. And this is the same way when you go to Qum, you would feel the closeness with Bibi Fatima, Zahra alayhi salam, for the sadaqah of Bibi Masuma Qum. Salawat ala Muhammad. Bibi says, after the death of my father, my sufferings were so great that if such hardship fell upon the days would turn into the nights. A good confidant is he whom you can trust with everything of yours. Before Bibi Fatima passing, she dreamt of the Holy Prophet. And the Holy Prophet told Bibi Fatima, you're going to come to me very, very soon. And in so, she called her best confidant, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, and made a conversation with her and gave him her will. However, two most important things I wanted to share, which I feel is very prevalent for us today. One is, see, Ali, I know every man needs a woman. When I pass away, you should marry again. However, my second condition is this, that when you marry, spend a night with your wife, but one night with my children. Because my children are very small. I want you to take care of my children. So we do find that Asma bint Uwais, in the same house she lived as a helper, would tell the story of her death in a very moving way. When the day arrived, she prepared food for her children, and then she told Asma she was going to her prayers room. She would say takbir loudly at various intervals. When Asma does not hear the sound of takbir, she would go out to the mosque and tell Ali about the death of his wife. If in the meantime, if the children come home, give them the food before telling them about the death of their mother. Hassan and Hussein arrived and Asma brought them some food. He said, oh Asma, since when we eat without our mothers? Both the children entered the prayers room and stayed there for a while looking at their mother. Ali arrived and prepared for the last rite. He prepared for a ghusl and he was giving ghusl. Ali cried aloud. Oh Ali, you are such a brave person. Why did you cry? He said he found on one side of Fatima Zahra's rib broken and the poor lady never told Ali. When he was giving her bath, his cry, Asma asked the reason and he would say the same thing. And then the companion of the Prophet, they came together to take the janazah of Imam Ali. But however, Fatima, Imam Ali called Hassan Hussein, come give last respect for your mother. Hassan came, but Hussein did not come. He said in one corner, he says, when my mother called me, I will come. And finally the end came out of the janazah calling Hussein, oh my son, come towards me. Come towards me, Hussein. And here we see very few family members. They went and delivered the coffin. And Imam Hussein, as he was burying, he tells the Prophet, oh Holy Prophet, I took your daughter with me. Now I am returning her to you. And we see that how this burial took place. However, we find that Fatima did not live there. Fatima followed the caravan of Hussein to Karbala. Oh my son, wherever you you go, I'm going to be with you. Oh my son, I know in Karbala you will be killed mercilessly, but I'm your mother. I will be there with you. Matam Hussein.